Hello, good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, Sonali, Palak, Yadav, Aditya, Anukriti. How are you all doing? I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking. And before I even asked, you've told me that I'm perfectly visible and audible, so thank you. So I'm sure you've also already read what today's session is going to be about. It's about common errors while using adjectives. So to get started with this right here, why don't we do a little activity where you have to give me an adjective that goes with your name? Why don't you do that? Yashat, as always, has this emoji. Lots of smileys. So come on, let me see some adjectives that go with your name. Preferably if they start with the same letter as your first name. That would be great. I see some people calling themselves intelligent. That's good. Smart. Funny. You know, if I were to do this exercise, maybe I'd call myself, I don't know, awesome Asmita. What about you? Jyotsna, Yashasvi, Krishna. Aditya is also awesome. Pretty Palak. Nice. Gentle Gungun. Genius Gungun can also work. Super Sonali. Yashart, yes, it's hard to find something that starts with Y. All right, okay, so we have many. So this tells me that we're all very comfortable with using adjectives in general, so that's a good thing. So now we are going to Sweet Smita, that's cute. Awesome Anukriti. Talkative Toshani. Okay, wow. Alright, so now that I know that you use adjectives, let's look at some common errors that we all are guilty of making. So we all make these mistakes sometimes. Let's take a look at them and see if we can avoid these mistakes. Meanwhile, look at this. Okay, so this is a huge shopping list that I have, and I need to buy all these things. Alright? So, right after the session, I'm gonna head over to the grocery store and the shopping mall and get all these things. But before I do that, is there something wrong with this list? Can you read it out? It's weird, right? A red big bag, a brown bouncy basketball, a hardbound small book, a black strong racket, a yellow large mug. It's so weird to say. Right? Don't you agree? Yes, all of it is wrong. Okay, wow. So let's correct this list and let's look at the first one, a red big bag. So I think it actually should be a big red bag. What do you think? Yes, all of you agree it should be a big red bag. So generally, when we use more than one adjective to describe something, there's an order that we follow for the adjectives, right? And this is something that's just come about, and this is now a natural way of talking. So if something is not in that order, it sounds weird. And it's not like we have to memorize that order or we have to like sit and figure out what that order is before saying. We just generally know how to say the adjectives in the correct order. We don't really have to think about it. So if you're comfortable with speaking English, chances are that you will use the correct order. But sometimes things get switched around, right? Yes. So let's take a look at what the order of adjectives should be. But before we do that, I know you're already aware. We just a little brush up for anyone who's confused. Adjectives are words that describe the qualities of nouns, right? So they can describe the quality or the state of being of a particular noun. Okay, just like we saw, big and red were describing the noun bag, right? And so there are some more examples. You gave me a lot of fantastic examples of adjectives, so I don't really have to add to that list for you. But apart from just quality, there are adjectives that can also give us quantity, like many. Oh, pen is not working. 1 second. There we go. So what we have, many, few. Okay, we can say millions. Or we can even say stuff like numbers, like, I don't know, 11. Right? So these are all describing the quantity of the noun. And quality, as you all gave me brilliant examples, let's not spend much time on it. Okay, so now let's look at the order of adjectives so we don't make the mistake that was made in the shopping list, right? Here we go. So all of it is popping right up on your screens. Alright, so now we know the order of adjectives should be determiner, opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, and then finally the noun. Right, so we all know what determiners are. Determiners can be articles like a and the, or they can be demonstrative determiners like this, that, these, those, or they can be possessives like my, his, hers, right? Okay, so let's look at examples for all of these. And yes, some of you have already told me the acronym for this. Great job there. Okay, but now let's look at examples first. An expensive, big, old, rectangular, red, African wooden rocking chair. Wow. So I would never use so many adjectives to describe one thing. I don't think anyone does, but this is just an example. Right, so what is the acronym that we can use to remember this long list? Very easy. Dosas comp. Yes. How many of you like dosas? How many of you had dosa today or yesterday? Yes, okay. A lot of you like dosas. Very nice. All right. So very easy to remember. So now I think you have all the information you need to have to be able to answer some questions for me. So why don't we all correct that wrong list that we saw? Are we all up for it? Great. So let's correct the list. Aradhya ate a dosa today. Very nice. And it's okay if some of you join a little late. The session is always going to be there. You can catch what you missed after the session. Okay, so let's take a look at the list. Here it is. Now quickly, everybody. I've already corrected the first one for you. It's a big red bag. What about the second one? A brown bouncy basketball. Is it correct? What should it be? Aditya says a bouncy brown basketball. What about the others? Okay, Jessica also agrees. Sabita also. So all of you are saying it should be a bouncy brown basketball. Let's see. Yes, it should be a bouncy brown basketball, right? So we first have the opinion that it's bouncy, and then we have the color that it's brown. What about a hardbound small book? And do notice that the determiner is always coming first. Okay, so you are saying a small hardbound book. All right. Palak is leaving a lot of question marks. I told Palak to give me the answer. She's giving me an answer with question marks. How does that work? Yes, so all of you got it. It should be a small hardbound book because we have the size small first and then we have the material or the type, which is hardbound. Okay, what about the next one? So some of you have gotten ahead. I already see a strong black racket. All right. I know, Palak. I was just joking. All right, great job. A strong black racket. It's strong, that's my opinion. It's black, that's the color. And yes, a large yellow mug. Great job. So even if you don't think about dosas comp and try to figure out if this is, the color, the size, the age or whatever, you know what sounds correct. And generally you can just follow that instinct and you'll know the correct answer. Because we're so used to speaking in a certain way, anything that sounds odd will automatically sound wrong. Right? Great job. Thank you so much for correcting my list. It doesn't sound so weird anymore. And now I think you are ready for level 2. There we go. Now what you have to do is you have to spot the error in the sentence that I am giving you. Okay? And this is not related to dosas comp. This is related to adjectives in general. So whatever you think the error is, you need to tell me very, very quickly. Okay? Here we go. I'm not interested in taking part in the play. What's the error in this sentence? Sabita says interesting. Interesting is interesting, interesting. Interesting will be interested. Ayush is also saying interesting should be interested. Papaya too. Very good. So whenever I ask you for the error, it'll be great if you give me the correct word as well. So if you can correct the error, tell me the error and then give me the correct word, that would be great. And yes, perfect. It should be I am not interested in taking part in the play. Now the interesting thing here is that interesting and interested are both adjectives, right? So it's not like one is not an adjective. Oh, sorry, Ayushi. I called you Ayush accidentally. My mistake. Okay. So maybe you can't see this color here. So I'll change the ink. So some adjectives are formed by adding a prefix ing. Some are formed by adding the prefix ed, right? But here when we add ing to interesting and when we add ed and form interested, the meaning of the two words change. How do they change? Well, interesting generally describes the thing that we're talking about. Something is interesting. So what is it describing? It's describing the thing. And interested is describing the person who finds something interesting, right? So if I find you interesting, I would say that I am interested in talking to you. So here the word interested, it's not describing you. It's describing me. I am the one who is interested. But the word interesting is describing you. I'm saying you are very interesting. Right? So are you able to tell the difference between the two words? So if there's a movie that you really like, you say the movie is very interesting. What are you describing? You're describing the movie. But if I say I'm interested in watching that movie, who is interested? I am interested. So that's the difference between these two words. Easy, right? There we go. Perfect. Okay, time for the next one. But before we go to the next one, there's another word like this Let me quickly give it to you. Confuse. Okay, the adjective forms of this can be confusing or confused. Now here confusing describes the thing and confused describes the person. All right, perfect. So, you already know this. Many are formed by adding ing and ed, and the meaning for both change. Yes, Toshani gave us a great example. Awesome. All right, now here's the next question. She's more wiser than her opponent. What is the mistake here? Okay. Some of you are saying wiser should be wise. Yes, Aradhya, great job. So an easy fix for this is just get rid of this word right here. We don't need more over there. Why don't we need more over there? Wiser over here is already the comparative form of the adjective wise. Wise, wiser, wisest. So when we're already using the comparative form, we don't need to add another adjective there. So when you use comparative form of an adjective, there's no need to use another adjective. And this is a very common mistake. So what should we do? We should just remove more. All right. So easy, right? Everyone's figured out why this is wrong. All right. If not, I'll go over it in just a bit. We'll go over the comparative forms of adjectives in just a bit and you will be able to understand. Moving on to the next one. This is my most final answer. Similar to the previous question, what is the mistake here? Yes. Great job. Let's get rid of most. This is my final answer. Why? Because some adjectives are complete and absolute by themselves. What does final mean? Final means the last thing. So what can come after that? Nothing, right? So how can something be more final? Final is already the last stage. Do you have more final exams after your final exams? No, you don't, right? Great. All right. So there are some other adjectives that are complete and absolute by themselves, and we call them absolute or non-gradable adjectives because we can't have a higher version of them. Here's a list: supreme, wonderful, unique, obvious, complete, absolute, preferable, horrible, final, brilliant, ideal. Alright, so you can keep this list in mind, you can refer to it and you will know not to make the mistake of adding another adjective before these words. Alright. Here's the next question. This is the bestest cake I've ever eaten. Sonali, gradable means we don't have another version of them. So just how we talked about wise, wiser, wisest, there's no final, finaler, finalist. It's just final. There are no more or less versions of that particular word. Okay, and here we have Bestest will be best. Okay. Perfect. And a lot of you gave me the reason as well. So this is the best cake I've ever eaten. Why? Because we do not add est to the superlative forms of irregular adjectives, right? And it's already in the superlative form, so we don't have to add est. And so for all those of you who are confused with the comparative forms as well, let's quickly go over degree of comparison of adjectives. Okay, so adjectives can exist in 3 degrees: the positive form, the comparative form, and the superlative form. Okay, and so there are 2 kinds of adjectives. We have regular adjectives and we have irregular adjectives, right? So an example of irregular adjectives here is good. Okay, now good is irregular because unlike most adjectives, we don't add er to its comparative form or est to its superlative form. Okay, it just has totally different words as the comparative and superlative form. What are those words? Better and best. So it's good, better, best. Good, better, best. But there are other words that are regular adjectives that have comparative and superlative forms to which we add er and est, right? Like you're saying, wise, wiser, wisest, or cold, colder, coldest, hot, hotter, hottest. Yes, and Ashriya says bad is also irregular. That's very good, Ashriya, because it's bad, worse, worst. Alright, and all those of you requesting sessions for different things, leave it in the comments after the session, alright? So we can keep track of what you're interested in. Yes, Anukriti, tall, taller, tallest. So all of these words are regular adjectives. We just have to add er to its comparative form and est to its superlative form. Right? But good, better, best, bad, worst, worst, these are irregular adjectives. So we do not add est here to an already superlative form. That's wrong. Right? Yes, and there are also other kinds of adjectives that take more or less. So these are generally longer adjectives that have more syllables, 2 or more syllables, like beautiful. Pratiksha is saying, so beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent. Right? Great job. So now, can you tell me the 3 degrees of the word brave? Now, Sabita, the word that you're giving me is a verb. It's not an adjective. And adding ed to the verb changes its tense. Right? Okay, brave, braver, bravest. Very good. You got it right. Brave, braver, bravest. Quite easy. And I hope that cleared it out for all of you who are confused about the comparative forms. Okay, let's move on to the next question now. You have to read much books. What's the mistake here? Okay, a lot of you saying much is the mistake. Why? What should it be? Yes, great job. So it should be you have to read many books. Why? Because much is only used with uncountable nouns and many is used with countable nouns. Books, a countable noun. 1 book, 2 book, 3 book. It has a plural form, books. And we've talked about this in a lot of detail in the 9th and 10th channel when we were preparing. So if some of you want to know about this, you can catch that session as well. So much is always used with uncountable nouns while many is used with countable nouns. And an interesting thing about much is that it's also used with uncountable nouns, mainly in negative sentences. So, for example, let's take the uncountable noun money. So, we we can't say one money, two money, three money, right? So, it's an uncountable noun. We're all clear about that? Countable, uncountable. And so now we generally say he doesn't have much money or there isn't much money in my account. But when we want to talk about someone who has money, we say he has a lot of money. So generally, when we want to say it in an affirmative sentence where we're talking about something that that person does have, we say that person has a lot of money. But in negative sentences, he doesn't have much money, right? Or I haven't had much water today. Priyanka, yes, you can count money, but you need a unit to count it. Okay, you can count rupees, you can count dollars, but you can't count money. You can say I have 20 rupees, you can say I have 100 rupees, but you can't say I have 20 money, I have 100 money, right? So the word money itself is an uncountable noun because it needs a unit for you to be able to count it. Just like milk. You can talk about the quantity of milk in liters or milliliters, but you cannot talk about the quantity of milk just by itself. You can't say I have one milk, I have two milk. You can say I have one glass of milk, I have one bottle of milk. But can you say I have one milk, two milk? No, right? So that's how you differentiate between an uncountable and a countable noun. Another simple trick is, can you easily make a plural of that? Can I say milks? No, that's incorrect, right? Can I say monies? Very rarely in some contexts, generally no. Can I say waters? Right? So that's how you differentiate between a countable and an uncountable noun. Book, books, one book, two book. Bottle, one bottle, two bottle, bottles. There we go. Okay. So every time we have a countable noun, what do we use? We use many. There are many students in this class. Not there are much students in this class. Okay? So in this particular context, Anvi, you can say more. You have to read more books. But that you're saying that you have to read more books as opposed to the amount that you are already reading. So it does make sense in this particular sentence to say more as well. But right now, I'm just trying to tell you that with countable nouns, you will always use many and not much. You can use more, but you cannot use much. All right. Now here's your next question. The yellow flowers were beautifuls. Okay, there we go. The answers have started coming. Were beautiful. All right. Great job. This one was fairly easy. Should be the yellow flowers were beautiful. Why? Because adjectives in English do not change with the noun that they modify. Okay, so if the noun is plural, if it's flowers, doesn't mean the adjective also has to have an S. Okay, adjective stays as it is. Doesn't have to change according to the noun. Yeah, you can compare two flowers. You can say the yellow flowers were more beautiful than the pink flowers. That's up to you. But right now, what are we talking about? We're talking about this S here. Just because flowers is plural doesn't mean the adjective also has to be forced into a weird plural form. Right? Great. Now here's a tricky one. I can't walk any further. Okay, here, okay, this is a little, oh, there we go. Ashriya has an answer. Further should be father, not father like your papa. Farther. I can't walk any farther. And so this generally now it's not like this is a hard and fast rule, and you will see in a lot of books people use further also. And if you say this, the other person will generally understand what you are trying to say. But the rule is that further is used to represent additional, and farther is used to talk about distance. So here, when I'm saying I can't walk any farther, I'm talking about this distance that I cannot cover. So anytime distance is involved, we use farther, and anytime we're talking about something additional. Like for example, let's get started without any further delay. What does that mean? Without any more delay, without any additional delay. So in such instances, we use further, and when we talk about distance, we use farther, right? Okay, looks like you have completed the challenge. Very good. And I'm sure if any of you were making some of these errors, you will stop. Now you have full clarity on what to do and what not to do, right? Anukriti, affirmative sentences talk about what something is. For example, Anukriti is a girl. Asmita is a girl. I am telling you what I am. But a negative sentence would be Asmita is not a boy. Here I am telling you what I am not. So that's the difference between an affirmative sentence and a negative sentence. All right. Hi Lakshika. Okay, so here is your homework. Which of these are correct usages of adjectives? I think this is going to be a cakewalk for you. Very, very easy. No, we do not have Menti today. Maybe next time. So do try out the homework. Leave your answers in the comments. And join Telegram. I mean, I don't have to convince you to, because you keep asking where is the Telegram channel. But those of you who haven't, why join Telegram? You get revision questions, you get the PDF notes, you get Sunday fun facts. So you get a fun fact every Sunday, you get quizzes, you get more homework questions, and you get all the important updates so you don't miss out on anything. So if you want to stay on top of your game, check out the Telegram link for channel 678. Link is in the description. It's also in the comments there for you. So do check it out. And as always, we've got you covered. So what do you have to do? You have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so you get all the updates. You don't miss any of the sessions. And then you don't come in and say, oh, am I late? Am I late? Alright, and do make use of the free trial classes. The link is in the description box. Check them out. They are very, very nice classes. As you all know about BYJU'S classes with a 2-teacher advantage. So if you're very happy with having one teacher for these sessions, imagine having 2 teachers. So one teacher will be clarifying all your doubts. Another teacher will be teaching you everything. You will get homework. You will be tested on a regular basis. Alright, you'll have regular parent-teacher meetings, and this will generally really help you out. The classes are lot of fun, very interactive, and you're really going to enjoy them. So do check out the free trial classes. Alright? Great. I had a great time with you today. This is the end of our session. See you tomorrow. And have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.